flyweight titleist, dazzling at his prime when he was near the top of many pound-for-pound lists. Will go down as one of the all-time greats of his weight class, although the other big names avoided him in his prime. Guy who's endured personal and professional setbacks, probably never got the credit he deserved because he's fought at the lower weights. Al, unbeaten in 12 championship fights, dominated every one of them, but now at a point where every fight, his career is on the line.
It really is, and now he's going through kind of a rebirth. He was not expected to beat Fernando Montiel for the WO title. He did that, and it came at a time when he's reshaping his personal life. After a stint in prison, he got remarried. He got involved in businesses such as fighter management. He's even a boxing commentator. He's really a revitalized guy right now.
You've heard the adage, fighters can get old in a night. We'll see if Johnson is a young 32 or an old 32. As we check the numbers, we go to the tail of the tape here at Foxwoods. Both 14-year veterans. Bolano a couple of years older. He claims he's 31. I do that too, by the way. Slight edge in height and reach to the challenger Bolano at yesterday's weigh-in. Both checked in right on the money. And the key rules for this world title affair: there's no standing 8 count, no 3 knockdown rule. A fighter cannot be saved by the bell in any round. And if an accidental headbutt occurs before the end of the 4th, the fight's ruled a no decision. If it happens after the end of round 4, they'll go to the scorecards. So here at Foxwoods, a rarity with 2 southpaws getting it on. Mark Johnson and Luis Bolano for the WBO Junior Bantamweight Championship. The formal introductions from our ring announcer, Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to you, and we welcome you to Foxwoods Resort Casino here in Mashantucket, Connecticut, as we have a big night of action in store for you. And it's all brought to you by Cedric Kushner Promotions in association with Team of Freedom, the undisputed king of beers, Budweiser, and Showtime. At this time, we present the first of our world title attractions. This also brought to you courtesy of DeBella Entertainment. It is sanctioned by the WBO President Francisco Valcarcel. The supervisor is the former light heavyweight world champion Jose Torres. This is along with the Mashantucket Pequot Athletic Commission. Introducing our judges, scoring this bout from ringside, from Floral Park, New York, Joe Dwyer. From Garden City, New York, Arthur Mercanti Sr., and from West Hartford, Connecticut, George Smith. Our third man to the ring, the referee in charge of this action, working in this his 18th world title bout, Arthur Mercanti. All right, fans, here we go. 12 rounds of boxing for the WBO Junior Bantamweight Championship of the World. Introducing to you first, ladies and gentlemen, the challenger on my right, fighting out of the blue corner, entering the ring wearing white trunks and hailing from Cordoba, Colombia. He weighed in at the junior bantamweight limit of 115 pounds even. He is undefeated in his campaign to the ring with 38 wins, no losses, 28 big wins coming by way of knockout. He is ranked in the top 5 by all of the major boxing organizations. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the WBO #1 junior bantamweight contender, introducing the undefeated Luis Monstrito Bolano. And his opponent across the ring, the defending world champion on my left, fighting out of the red corner, wearing red trunks with white trim, hailing from our nation's capital of Washington, D.C. He weighed in the same as his opponent, 115 pounds even. His record stands at 42 wins, 3 losses, 1 no contest, with 27 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the former IBF flyweight world champion, the former IBF junior bantamweight world champion, and now the current and defending WBO junior bantamweight champion of the world, introducing Mark Too Sharp Johnson. Once again, a referee in charge, Arthur Mercanti, now to give instructions. 12 rounds of championship boxing scheduled.
Good evening, gentlemen. You received the instructions early in the night by the commission. I expect a nice, clean fight. touch gloves. Good luck to the both of you.
Good luck.
Just how sharp is too sharp? Have age and inactivity caught up to a guy who once overwhelmed opponents with blazing speed and power? And how would you like to be in the biggest fight of your career on 3 weeks' notice after a year of inactivity, and your trainer isn't here because of visa problems? That is the case with the challenger in the white trunks, Luis Bolano. Unbelievable.
Yeah, his trainer, Plutaro Kaye, couldn't get here because of the visa problems. And Al Bonani, a well-known trainer from the Miami area, was called in by Don King, his promoter, to help out. He knows of Bolano, has seen him in camp, and has some relationship. He's only been with him 2 days.
Bolano's been training 4 months in the mountains of Bogota. Says he's in great shape. He is 10-0 against left-handers. Seasoned southpaws off long layoffs in a fight constructed on very short notice.
That's a recipe for something nutty to happen. We'll see if it does. And also, as you pointed out, we don't often see two lefties. And how about Mark Johnson? Didn't spar a day with a left-hander for this fight. So there's many items here that could create some interesting things.
Johnson in the red voluntarily talks about his year of incarceration in 2000 for domestic violence, calling prison college because it helped him more than hurt him. Called it a blessing, even though he did time in a federal prison alongside lifers, working in the electric shop from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. for $7 a month. Now remarried, rededicated, as Al pointed out, owns beauty salons, a barber shop, manages fighters, does the TV commentary, as Al mentioned, and assists his wife with her real estate business.
What's he do in his spare time? That's what I want to train occasionally.
Yeah.
This first round, there's an overhand left from Johnson. This first round, a little less pressure from Johnson that we might expect, but I don't think anyone will have to go looking for the other in this fight. We'll see.
Johnson with 8 mouths to feed. He's got 2 boys and 6 girls. Maybe one of the reasons he holds on to so many jobs. And Bolano, as we mentioned, one of 19 children. And if you're guessing how and where he learned to fight, that might be a start right there, probably at the dinner table. Well, even with all the glory and championship belts, Too Sharp Johnson never really had that defining fight. Dodged by so many of the top names in his younger days.
Frank, never fought. Let's keep
Ricardo
it clean.
Lopez, or Johnny Tapia, or Michael Carvajal, or Chiquita Gonzalez, or Danny Romero.
See Johnson starting off with the jab, trying to get that punch in. Both men have tried to establish it a little bit.
With 30 seconds and counting in round, what should point out, Johnson tore a muscle in his left arm in his last fight with Fernando Montiel, but says the arm is as good as it's gonna be. Even collected a knockdown of that foot. Mark Johnson 42-3 with 1 no contest, 27 knockouts. Bolano unbeaten, 38-0, 28 KO. Bell sounds to end round 1. The key strategy word for this particular boxing match would be aggression.
Luis Bolano has to retreat at angles. If he goes straight back, Johnson will eat him up. Against the shorter, crouching Johnson, Bolano's good uppercut could be a great weapon. He tends to loop his left hand. It needs to be straight to land in this match. Mark Johnson will want to keep pressure on Bolano and sustain it through the entire fight. And Mark can't relax on the inside, or that uppercut will nail him. The right hook is Johnson's best power punch, and it can land especially against a fellow lefty, as Bolano is. Here against Fernando Montiel, Johnson helped himself win the WBO title by nailing Montiel with his big right hook. It helped him get a decision win, and it's an important punch tonight.
Ready for round 2, scheduled for 12 for the WBO Junior Bantamweight Championship, held by Mark Johnson in the red trunks. Interesting sidelight to this bout. This is the first fight that Arthur Mercante and Arthur Mercante Jr. have worked together. The illustrious Arthur Sr., a boxing official for an astounding 6 decades. 7 if you include the amateurs, one of the all-time great refs, working so many big fights, including Ali Frazier won at Madison Square Garden. Son Arthur Jr. is the 3rd man in the ring.
trying to go downstairs with the right hook. He wants to land that punch very badly in this fight, and that's kind of a half uppercut. He thinks that's the power punch that will ultimately put Bolano out if he can get it in.
Worked against Montiel. Montiel, though, I'll recall, sort of came to dance until later in the fight.
There's that right hook that lands, and against a southpaw, of course, you have more opportunity to throw the punch. Against the righty, it's a little bit more difficult for a southpaw.
Almost right on cue. Johnson, a crafty left-hander, certainly not the guy he was when he dominated opponents with tremendous reflexes and power. Yet, as he demonstrated in the Montiel fight, still a craftsman and an intelligent ring technician.
Johnson was impressed with the left hand of Bolano when he looked at the tapes, and he does have a pretty good left, especially an uppercut, but Mark Johnson is not ducking in, which would be something that would give Bolano a little bit more opportunity.
A flurry by Bolano, who's a no-frills southpaw, nothing fancy, but aggressive. Strong guy, good power in both hands. He stands right in there. There's a good right hand by Johnson. That sent Bolano back.
Bolano and his people seem to have the idea that Johnson would box him, and I didn't know where that came from, but you'd see Johnson isn't. Mark Johnson wants to come out and get him, and they seem to think he was going to move and use all of this ring. Not happening.
Bolano figured he'd do a lot of chasing, but Johnson's standing right in front of him.
Keep working on that front.
Johnson measuring him out. The southpaw in the red. Three-time world champion. Would love to get his old IBF 115-pound crown back. Luis Perez currently wears the belt. Right hook there. Nicely done by Johnson. Couple of them.
Well, he has found a home early already for that punch, and I'm not too many fighters at this weight can stand up to him landing that punch on a regular basis. It's a little more powerful for him than a straight left.
Arthur McCanny has to catch Luis Bolano at the bell.
Too much water. Too much water, man. Too much water, Chris. I get that. Come on. Look. Hey, Mark. All you do is box. You're beautiful.
Well, Mark Johnson used this punch to knock Fernando Martial down, and there's one right on the point of the chin. Good for Bolano for hanging in there. That was a really good punch delivered with good leverage in a compact way, and there again is a different right hand that sends him backwards. So Johnson has found a place for that right hook, and Bolano will have to keep his left up a little better.
Break your shoulder. Do anything you want to do. You know what the North end, a hook is out. Oh, come on, you're doing everything. Come on, let's go.
Mark's father, Ham, working the corner. Al Bonani in the corner, a late replacement for Bolano's chief trainer who had the visa problems. Bonani, an interesting story. He came in just a couple of days ago, a Florida-based former Miami vice police officer who has trained such world champions as Randall Bailey and Freddie Pendleton, to name a few.
Also Uriah Grant, the cruiserweight, for a number of years, and he's Al Bonani's a well-respected and beloved boxing figure. He's really a great guy, and he's the kind of guy that would jump in to help out here.
Says he knew Bolano from his fighting days in Florida. He has had a few fights down in the Sunshine State.
You know, Mark Johnson is doing something that's normally very risky, but he's not concerned. He's leaning in to throw a right uppercut from way far out. Normally you would get countered by a left hand, but I believe he's already judged that Bolano's hand speed doesn't allow him to counter him with the straight left.
Johnson very respectful of Bolano, tough Colombian fighter. But he continues to stand right in there as Bolano misses with a right hand.
Keep him up.
Keep the punches up, says McKenna. Same thing to Johnson.
Let's keep it clean, okay? Okay. Keep it clean. Keep him up.
At this weight, Johnson is a very, very effective fighter. And of course, he was a weight below this in his glory days. When he moves up to 118, though, a problem. He lost a close decision to Rafael Marquez, then was knocked out by Marquez. But then Marquez went on to beat Tim Austin and become a champion and might be the best in the 118-pound division. And that kind of led Mark Johnson back to boxing. He said, you know what, I lost to the best in a division higher than I should have been at. I think I can make things work. And that's when he went back to win the WBO title.
He was told that he won that first fight with Marquez, actually went into the dressing room thinking he had won. They had tallied up the scores incorrectly, and then somebody, I hate to be that person, had to go back into the dressing room and tell him, guess what, Mark? You didn't win. Marquez won the fight. So he got the rematch, but he was stopped in the end.
I think there were some hanging chads that changed the count. I'm not sure.
Was it in Florida?
I don't know. It could have been.
It should have been, right?
Very little combination punching coming from Bolano. That's part of the issue in this fight. He's a singular puncher.
Well, Bolano just tagged Johnson with a whipping right hand. Less than 30 seconds left, round 3, scheduled for 12. WBO 115-pound title. Nice jab by Johnson, showing a lot of movement here. Look at this.
Let's stop showboating
Little
now.
Fred Astaire dance step. Johnson nearly losing his balance with that left hand. We follow Bolano in his corner. The translator, Joe Guzman.
Mira, esto era el primero episodio que era buenísimo, pero mira a mí. Cuando termina con 3 o 4 golpes, él va detrás, usted
This is
tiene
what
que
you want.
síguelo.
Keep going.
Pues está bien y síguelo. Usted
Keep
no
going.
puede ganar una decisión aquí.
You can't win the decision.
Vámonos.
Let's go.
Eso es. Esto es la tercera.
Bolano was warned for this punch that strayed a little bit low after they exchanged 2 good jabs. He would go downstairs. Yep, although it was blocked partially by the glove, it was very, very low. That's the uppercut that Bolano would like to use, but that one strayed extremely low, and he did get the warning.
Round 4. Bolano connecting with a right hand on the chin. Bolano managed by a lovely lady named Jeanette Triana, one of only a handful of women managers in boxing. Said she was working in the promoter's office when Luis came in to meet the promoter. A gentleman named Billy Champ. What else?
Is that from Central Casting?
It should be. And she's been managing him now for 13 years. Can you say against the ropes in Spanish? Then we'll get Joe Guzman to help us out with that.
You know, Mark Johnson, the difference in this fight right now, obviously, is the hand speed. And I think going in after having looked at the fights of Bolano, and Johnson did as well, I think he felt, as did many observers, that that would be the difference. And so far, Johnson has simply gotten there first with his punches.
Minute into round 4.
Keep him up.
Another caution from Arthur Mercanti Jr. Johnson, first African-American in history to hold the flyweight belt, which he won in '96. And in conjunction with Black History Month, the mayor of his hometown, Washington, D.C., recently proclaimed a day in Too Sharp's honor. Very nice.
He was very proud of that. He's he takes a lot of interest in the Washington, D.C. area.
You ever have a day named in your honor?
No, I have not. And
I once had a second. I once had a second named in my honor. Went so fast, too. We approach the final minute of round 4. It's scheduled for 12.
You know, this is the second longest inactive period for Bolano, and you can't help but think ring rust is a problem for him here. And you see the lack of hand speed. He just can't hit Mark Johnson, and those are very slow combinations. Bolano's a pretty good ring technician. He just, there's the hook.
There it is. And Bolano is down for the first time in his career, pro or amateur.
6, 7, 8.
He's got 38 seconds to get through round 4, and Johnson's going for the finish. Oh, what an uppercut, but it was blocked partially. Oh, Bolano with a delayed reaction down for the second time, and he spits out the mouthpiece. Not a good sign.
That's it, champ.
That's it.
That's it. That's it. That's it. Let's settle down.
Mark Johnson with a display of power here in round 4 puts Bolano on the canvas twice, and it is over.
Couple of firsts for Bolano. Of course, the first time he lost, the first time he was knocked down, and a very excited Mark Johnson. He is reborn.
And the concern now, of course, is with Luis Bolano on his back being checked by the ringside physicians. Let's just hope he's okay.
Luis Bolano, ranked in the top 10 by all the organizations, #1 by the WBO. Obviously a solid fighter, but not on the level of Mark Johnson. And clearly, that man was several cuts above. And, you know, you look at Mark Johnson at age 32, his only losses, he lost in his second pro fight in the 4-rounder, went on a tear and won a series of fights after that, obviously, and then lost to Rafael Marquez in a weight above him. One of those was very close. So this is not a shot fighter at 32.
Well, he answered our question. He's still sharp. Too Sharp is still sharp. The loser, the challenger, Luis Bolano, is okay as he gets back up and sits on his stool. Yeah, a lot of people thought as Johnson comes over to console him, and a nice smile from Bolano, a good sign. Yeah, everybody thought that Johnson's career was shot. He was over after the second loss to Marquez. And he came back and beat Montiel, and now this.
Well, Mark Johnson proclaims he's the best 115-pounder, and I don't think too many people would argue with him. That was a good left hand, but the right hook, which was the punch we felt would be the money punch for Mark Johnson, got there, and for the very first time, Bolano found himself on the mat. And Mark Johnson, a good finisher when he gets people in trouble. We take another look at the two punches. This uppercut was a great punch, but that right hook landed perfectly, and there was nowhere for Bolano to go but down, despite the fact that he has shown a good chin throughout his career. Johnson has a lot of power in that right hook. He throws it in a very compact way. And there's a delayed reaction. That's a right hand underneath. That's the one that really hurt Bolano to the body. And he had been working that right uppercut to the body, had Mark Johnson, and this one paid plenty of dividends, and this is what ended this fight.
So Mark Johnson looking like a young 32.
Well, you know, he has a big arsenal. He's got many, many punches, and that one right in the solar plexus. You can see it very well from that angle, how it landed right in the solar plexus and took the wind out of Luis Bolano. If you fight Mark Johnson, he is not a one-dimensional fighter. He's got that kind of body attack. He's got a great right hook. He's got a good jab and a pretty good straight left hand.
We have to, of course, keep in consideration the fact that his opponent had been untested at this level, but by the same token, Johnson looking like vintage, Too Sharp. Let's get the official word from Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the time of 2 minutes, 40 seconds in round number 4. Our referee in charge, Arthur Mercanti, stops the contest. He's the winner by way of knockout, and still the WBO Junior Bantamweight Champion of the world, Mark Too Sharp Johnson.
So Mark Too Sharp Johnson holds on to his belt. His first successful defense, ups his record to 43-3 with 1 no contest, 28 knockouts now. Remains undefeated in world title fights, going to 12-0. And at 32 years of age, still going. He took this fight on short notice. He beats the #1 mandatory Bolano, who suffers his first defeat as a pro or amateur, dropping to 38-1. Coming up next from scenic Mashantucket, Connecticut, we're at Foxwoods Resort Casino. Our main event, it's the rematch between former champions Joel Casamayor and Diego Corrales for the vacant WBO Junior Lightweight crown. The first go round, an extremely intense affair. Will the follow-up be as provocative? Stay tuned. Set for post-fight reaction from our opening bout. Let's get it over to Jim Gray. Jim?
All right, Steve, thank you very much. Mark, congratulations to you. Too sharp. You took this on very, very short notice. Are you surprised with such little time to prepare and train that you did as well as you did?
First of all, I'd like to thank God to be the glory. Reverend Stables, the Anna Johanna family for keeping me in prayer. I stayed in the gym, so I was ready. You know, this is a fight that I call Lou. I talk to Lou about every day. I say, Lou, when we gonna make it happen? So short notices don't make a difference. I'm a businessman. I stay ready to stop having to get ready.
Did you expect a little bit more since your opponent was undefeated? I mean, Luis had never lost.
Well, I really don't care about it. He never lost. But he's going up against the best 115-pounder in the world, bar none. That's right. And Showtime, let's unify it. Mark Johnson versus Luis Perez. Let's do it.
Has there been any conversation about that?
Well, I'm letting Cedric Kirshner and Lou DeBella handle that, my manager, James Prince. And we ready to go. And I want to thank everybody back at Two Shots Barbershop and Two Shot Beauty Salon for keeping me in prayer. And everybody in round one gym, baby.
Let me ask you about the Fountain of Youth tonight. The guys were commenting at 32 years of age, you look 10 years younger. And was this maybe possibly one of your sharpest performances that you've had in some time?
I think it was my sharpest performance in quite some time. But the main thing was I stayed in the gym this time. I stayed ready, and you know, thanks to my family, my wife, and everybody alongside of me, they kept me in strength and in prayer.
Tell us about this knockdown here in the fourth round, the very first one, where you caught him with this punch.
Well, you know, I was using a lot of good defense, rolling with the shoulders. I hit him with a good left uppercut, and you know, automatically after the left uppercut, the right hook has to come back.
And then at the end of the fight, let's jump forward to that. Tell us what happened here, Mark.
Well, I knew I had him hurt, so I wanted to run to him, hit him with a lead uppercut, which I caught him with. And I knew that's a punch he wasn't expecting because I turned right-handed when I threw it. So I know it was a punch he wasn't expecting.
Did you realize he was hurt? Because it was quite a delayed reaction.
Well, I knew the body shot had caught him flush. I can feel it through the glove. But I didn't know it was that type of punch that hurt him. But I knew the next punch he'd definitely go out there.
All right, Mark, congratulations on your victory.
Thank you very much. DC, I'm coming home.
Wait a minute, say congratulations to the opponent also.
Oh, yeah, you know, he was a great fighter. You know, he's 38-1. But that's it for him. It's over with. I'm the best 115-pounder in the world. Showtime.
All right,
we want
Mark.
Luis Perez.
With that little addendum, let's go back upstairs to you, Steve.
All right, Jim.